Hi everyone.
Hi everyone.
Happy Thursday. Today, in this episode, we're going to be talking about healthy co-parenting and putting your kiddos first when co-parenting. And we'll be right back. Hello again.
Hello everyone.
Hope everyone is enjoying this week. We just had a break on Monday. Just got back from a long weekend, which only makes us more tired than relaxed. But it is what it is. We're gotta keep trucking.
Gotta keep going.
Yep.
Gotta keep going. One of the reasons we wanted to do this episode, we had some other stuff lined up. But we wanted to do this because there is a 6-year-old autistic boy missing. It's been since August 27th, I want to say. It was a Saturday,
Yes.
I think. So we're going to give you a clip of it, what's going on with him. But one of the reasons we wanted to do this is because, unfortunately, it looks like this is poor co-parenting, you want to say, or I don't know.
I mean,
how
in this case, I'm not so sure that I would even call it that, but obviously there has been some friction between mom and dad. Dad apparently did not have his visitation rights weren't it didn't include it didn't include overnights or anything like that, and apparently from what the news is telling us, he is presumably with his dad.
So we're going to leave you with a short clip for a second about this incident, and we'll be right back.
This morning, police are asking for your help. They're trying to find a missing boy with autism.
His mother says her ex-husband took him, and she has concerns about his safety. CBS 4's Deborah Souverain joins us live from Miami with what she had to say. Deborah.
Yeah, Maribel and Keith, George Morales is just 6 years old. He also goes by JoJo, and it's believed that he was kidnapped by his father and grandmother. Now, that happened just hours after JoJo's mother was granted full custody. Now, take a look at this flyer. These are the people who are believed to be with JoJo. Now, his mother, Inez Concepcion, tells us he is autistic and was last seen in Homestead. She believes his father may hurt him because of something he told his son. Now, as I mentioned, JoJo's mother was granted full custody, but she says when she went to pick her son up from the apartment her ex-husband lives with his mom, there was nothing there, and all of their numbers are now disconnected. Now, Concepcion says her son is extremely smart, knows her phone number by heart, but is unable to have a normal conversation.
So as you can see, I wanted to share that with you guys because it's just really important that, and I understand that sometimes that might not be possible. Like sometimes there might be a difficult relationship between mom and dad, and that's understandable, but we always have to remember to put your kiddos first. He has to be, we're hoping that he's okay, but he's okay, but he's not okay in the sense that he has to be missing his mom. He has to be wondering what is going on. And so, we really need to be mindful.
Yeah. The thing is that this is not a typical child.
Right.
On top of all the other layers of this story.
Yes.
This is not a typical child. This is an autistic child.
Right.
So 6-year-old autistic, I can only imagine what's happening with him.
Right.
Probably in his mind. I don't know if he's higher functioning or lower functioning, but it's the struggles of the adults should not be the struggles of the children.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And you have to be mindful of that. I myself have gotten through a divorce, a bad divorce, and the causes of that divorce has been big, to say the least. That's why I sometimes am a little afraid of talking about
Right.
it. And
You don't want to.
not afraid, but it's just I want to be mindful and I want to be careful what I say because of all the ramifications
Right.
about my divorce
Right.
and what can happen. So I try to be mindful about that. But one thing I have to tell you, by just looking from the outside looking in, right?
Right.
And I can only assume, I don't have all the details,
Right.
but by the looks of it, this is a very big case, right? If there is another person involved in your visitations, this could have been domestic violence, this could have been many other things, okay? So if you have somebody involved that has to kind of be the middle person
Right.
between the two parties,
Which I believe was the deal in this case.
Grandma, I think
Grandma was the middle person.
Right.
So she made, I guess, the visits happen in a sense where mom would pick him up from grandma's after he would have his visitations with his dad.
Yeah. So if that's happening, you already have a big layer of
Exactly.
issues.
I mean, and so there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. Sometimes unfair situations happen to people and they're judged. Sometimes judges can be partial and it's not the right thing. I've actually spoken to some families who the judge did not want to hear their side and they felt they were right. Anything can happen, but at the end of the day, you still need to follow the law. And if that's what was, the visitation rights that you were given, you still need to follow through.
Yeah. There's some people that say, oh, he's not kidnapped because he's with dad.
Right. I've seen comments like that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately he is because he wasn't supposed to be with that. Right.
If a judge and there's a final judgment that says dad needs to pick him up at a certain time and drop him off at a certain time at grandma's, like in this case, and if there's not a mutual agreement that he stays with him an extra hour, okay, and you just
which
show
we
up,
know that in this case wasn't the case because he's been missing for a week. But yeah,
I'm giving an example.
Right.
You're supposed to pick him up at 10 in the morning and bring him back at 6 in the afternoon. But you stay with him until 7 or 8 and didn't let anybody know. And there's no mutual agreement to that. You're violating the law.
Right.
Even if you're the father. So that's where it gets very tricky. And unfortunately, the kids are the ones that pay for all this.
Yes. They are the ones that pay and suffer these situations. And I mean, I myself haven't been in that situation, so I'm grateful for that. But, we definitely need to take into account and I understand that sometimes things, depending on the relationship or the reason why that relationship ended in the first place, or, sometimes there might be abuse, there might be infidelities, there could be a million other reasons why. So I'm not saying go and be your child's parents' best friend, other parents' best friend. No. Although some people do have amazing co-parenting and share things as a family, and that's wonderful. And it would be nice for most people to get to that point. But at the same time, I get it. When there's been major issues, it's not going to be that way. But you still have to not only follow the law and do what you're told by the court system, whether it's fair to you or not. You can always have another court date or, whatever the case. And make sure to put your children first. Yeah. They are the ones that suffer.
I feel, my heart aches just to think that this boy is probably struggling. Wants to see his mom and can't.
Right.
We have as moms and as mama bears,
Right.
we have a strong bond with our kiddos.
I can't even imagine, like,
Yeah.
and you know, regardless of what happened in their situation, and we don't know, you know, you never know what happens behind closed doors. That is completely irrelevant to the situation. I don't care what his reasons for doing whatever he did is, if he has any, if he wants to, you know, come up with a reason or whatever.
Right.
That does not matter. At the end of the day, you are hurting your own child by doing these things.
So unfortunately, he was taken from. I mean, he was supposed to be with him,
Right.
right?
So what I heard during one of the news information. So he was actually missing for a few days, or he was reported missing, but it wasn't for some days that that there was an Amber Alert. I think that might have been. I'm not sure how that works.
They did the Amber Alert last Friday,
Right.
and he was missing for almost a week.
Right. I don't know if that has to do with the fact that he was presumably with the parent. But
I think with those things, they have to
wait out a few. Yeah.
Investigate and
Look at
wait it
what's in the
out.
court.
Exactly.
Right.
All the details in and out. I think it took forever. It took way too long to actually
That's
do
true.
the
That's
Amber
true.
Alert.
They could really be anywhere right now, unfortunately.
Yes.
And so from what I saw in the news, and if you know anything about this case and I'm giving any wrong information, please correct me. But from what I heard in the news, and I don't know if it's changed, was she was supposed to pick him up. Mom was supposed to pick him up at grandma's. Grandma was that contact person in the middle. And when she arrived to pick him up, no one answered the door. It appeared that no one was home. Finally, law enforcement went into the home, and not only were they not home, but it appeared as if they weren't coming back. There was clothes. They didn't find clothing of the child or grandma, or not sure. But that's what I read, or that's what I heard. So it seems like this was planned out. Unfortunately, premeditated by his part, if that's the case. And yeah, I guess in the coming days we'll probably know a little more information. But it's just a very, very unfortunate situation all around. This is, our kids are our most prized possession. And of course we need to put them first, and we need to, keep that in mind always, regardless of your situation with anybody else. We see things like this happen, but never with a parent.
Right.
You don't see this that often.
We started doing this podcast in July.
Right.
We're now in September, right?
Right.
And
there's been a few missing kiddos and adult cases.
We've had
since
to
we
talk
started.
about
This is like the second time, but
the second time, and then one drowned.
Right.
All these things that happen to our kiddos. My heart breaks. My it's just my heart.
It's
gets
just
all
very
crumbled
personal
up because it hits home.
Right.
It hits home, and it's not only just because they are autistic. It's just when kids are involved and they run into these unfortunate situations.
Right.
As we advocate for kiddos, right?
Right.
And we advocate for autistic children and disabilities, and to have this, to see this happen to other kiddos and not being able to help, or I don't know.
You feel powerless.
I feel powerless when I
Right.
hear stuff like that. That just
Right.
gets to me.
So I guess the takeaway from this, because we are going to try to keep this video short, is even though it's difficult, even though you may not, you may have to work up to a relationship with your ex-significant other, always remember to put the kiddos first.
Yeah.
As difficult as it is, they didn't ask to be here. They were brought into this world by these two individuals, and they just deserve better.
They do.
They deserve better.
They do. They do. And when, like I said, a middle person is already set by the court,
Right.
there's bigger issues in the background.
Right.
So just be mindful. And, you know, grandma, grandpa, whoever's around and whoever's set to help out in this situation, please also be mindful. I know that's your son, that's your daughter, but don't take sides and just think of the kid. Take the kid's side.
Right.
Sometimes because of pride and because of the ego and you know, all of that plays in.
Right.
I'm because of my situation, I'm telling you, that needs to be all put aside and just think of it first.
And I think also, like, if you know that dealing with this other person is going to be very difficult, even if the court has not appointed anybody or you have not been to court yet, you can actually find a mediator or someone that's not, you know, on anybody's side, someone that's neutral, someone that, whether it's a family member or even go through mediation, or, you know, there's different ways to do things. I know that I believe it's an app where you can communicate with each other without, and those conversations are monitored and should only be used for communicating with this person regarding the children. And
there's an app that is called Our Family Wizard, and those are monitored. And if you cuss or have a kind of weird intonation or anything like that, it alerts you.
Right.
It alerts you and it tells you to, you know.
And now again, we don't know if in this case they were using that. We're just talking in general. Yesterday, I'm on several Facebook groups, and I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but yesterday, a mom put a screenshot of a conversation that she was having with her child's father through text, and she was asking him a question she was asking his opinion on a specific medication that they're trying out, and I was shocked by his response. And again, there are two sides to every story, and then there's the truth. And she didn't get into what the situation was, but so I don't know the history. She could be the worst person ever. I just don't know. But she was, by her demeanor on the message, it was very, you know, it came from a place of wanting his opinion on something.
Right.
And his response, and I have to curse on this one, his response was, "You do whatever you want, you psycho-ass bitch. You clearly don't even care what my opinion is. Otherwise, you wouldn't schedule doctor's appointments while you know that I'm at work and can't get out." And he just went off on her. And she did a screenshot of this, and she says, "All the joys of co-parenting." And so she would respond, she was like, "I don't understand why you're upset. I'm trying to get your opinion. I just want, you know," but he kept on going off on her. Now, again, I don't know what the sides to the story is, but if you feel that you are having that type of relationship with this person, then you need to get your messages into one of these monitored into one of these situations, because obviously that's not working out for them. Yeah, that's unacceptable.
It doesn't work that easy. And
there has to be history.
There has to be history, and not only that, your lawyers have to suggest this to the court.
Right. Okay.
And for the court to appoint it. This is something that is appointed. This is not something that you just jump on there and
got it.
You're there.
Yeah, like on that, you know, thread, somebody said to her, "You need to not only save these messages," because they're like, I don't understand why he would respond to that, knowing that once you post something, it's like a carbon copy. You could tell me whatever you want over the phone, and I could simply say, you could tell me, I didn't say that. But you are typing this into it. It was almost like, when I was reading it, it really seemed very threatening. And I don't care what the situation is, and that goes back to, again, putting your kids first. I wasn't taking sides with the mom because I don't know their story. But I don't feel that you should ever respond to the mother of your child and the same way, the same fashion, regardless of the situation. It should be mutual. And that's not the way to speak to the mother of your child, or the other way around, the mother of the mother speaking to the father of the child. Like, that's unacceptable. You may not think, you may, dislike this person or have a million problems with this person, but no one told you to have babies with him. And vice versa. You chose to have babies with this person.
That's right.
So it's all about
Whether you
respect for the
regret it or
children.
not.
Listen, and just be respectful for the sake of your children. I would be mortified. And again, I speak from a place where I haven't been in a situation like this. And, I don't have to deal with the co-parenting, but I would be mortified for one of my kids to see my phone where I am going back and forth bickering with their father, with the father of my children.
That's
one
one of the
right.
reasons. That's one of the reasons of this app.
Mm-hmm.
This website not only monitors what you say,
right,
but also it's like password and super.
It's very protected, and I'm sure there's certain
protected.
words, like wording, that you can't use.
And that's one of the reasons it is set up so nobody can go in there and see your.
Oh, perfect. So it's like password, like, so your children can see it or whatever.
Exactly.
And what they're going to see, if they were to see it, isn't going to be anything, because they're not allowed to type certain things in there anyway, and everything is monitored. So, yeah.
I mean, there's some
you could
stuff that
probably
gets in there, but
right.
Yes, it's password, super password,
That's nice.
Like
right,
protected and everything else, and it's not something that any of the kids would just pick it up and be like, oh,
right.
Wait, let me look at these messages.
No, I know it's like, when I saw this, I found this so disrespectful, regardless of what the situation is. Like, honestly, she could have spit in his face the day before, and I would have still said, that's not a way to answer my question. Like, I just find it so inappropriate for you to answer my question with calling me a psycho-ass bitch. Yeah, listen, I'm a psycho-ass bitch today, but not that long ago, I was having your babies.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
And I wasn't that psycho before.
And I must have not been that psycho. Or maybe I wasn't. That's how I had your babies in the first. No, I don't know. It just, I just, be mindful, people. It's your children, and they come first.
And our prayers and
absolutely
our good vibes are going on, to this family.
Every day I've been checking, hoping that we have good news. If you have heard, I'm sure if you are in South Florida, you've heard of this case already. If you think you may have seen them somewhere, my best guess is that they're traveling. They've gone somewhere.
I think they're not even around here.
I don't think they're around here. I think
long gone already.
I think so too.
Especially because that Amber Alert they waited so long to do that Amber Alert.
Right.
So,
I mean, you figure if you go across the country, like if you're in California on the other side, that's.
And
it's been a week. They could have been somewhere else already. Right.
Hopefully he's okay. And
but even if he's okay health-wise, he's gotta not be okay.
No, of course not.
Because you've literally just,
yanked him out.
And it looks like him and his mom have a very close bond, like you would with any 6-year-old, especially a 6-year-old on the spectrum. It's just such a difficult situation. My heart breaks for this mother, and we hope that he's found.
We hope so. I can tell you from my experience, when I was in front of a judge, one of the things that I asked is for them to be mindful. I asked more than once,
right,
to not make quick judgments and be able to see things and to I don't know what word I could use, but just to be mindful. Judges sometimes take sides.
They do. And
yes, they're supposed to, like, you know, but in certain situations they're not so open.
Right.
So, for everybody involved, and if it goes as far as to be in front of a judge and waiting to give a judgment on how things should be done and how visitations should happen,
Right.
The judge needs to be mindful, because a lot of things happen because they weren't set correctly from the
Right.
get-go.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's true.
So there's a lot of like things like this or other
Right.
other news that we've heard that it could have been prevented if they would just done it the right way from the get-go.
Right. I know that with this particular case we've been talking about, a few days later, around the time the Amber Alert was finally issued, I did see Mom in a local station, and you know, she was as expected. Can't eat, can't sleep. It was heartbreaking to see this mother going through this, but she basically said that she knows that this is an issue of revenge. She says that she left him with good reason. A few years, I want to say like a year or two ago, I'm not sure what was the timeline, but she left him and he's still apparently upset over it, and this is out of revenge. You
Don't
can't
do
use
that.
no, you can't use,
Please,
you know,
don't
like
do that.
use, you know, first of all, you shouldn't have revenge like that over anybody, but regardless of what the situation is, get those kids out of it.
That's right.
You just don't do that.
Yeah.
And you know,
Anyway, that gets me in a
yeah, it's
And,
difficult. It's difficult.
bad funk, because having lived it in you know, it never went to that.
Right,
Thank
right.
God.
Yeah, but just the thought of that, you know, you did go through a divorce, and you did have, you know, were with the court system, and you know, it's more, I think it's more personal for you, besides, you know, it is for all of us, because we are all moms, and you know, and we have children with autism. But when you've already been through a divorce, and you know, these things can happen.
Yeah.
It can happen to anybody, really, if you're not careful
And mindful.
and mindful of that.
And everybody needs to be mindful. Everybody. Parents, family members,
Right.
the court system.
Yes.
Don't go lightly. Don't go lightly, because if you go lightly, sometimes it doesn't work out the right way. So,
Yeah.
and yes, both parents have rights. 100%.
Yes.
But when you have a situation, when you have red flags,
There has to be a system
there's
in place.
gotta be some type of restriction. Because
And
if
the
there's
worst part about it is that in this case that we're talking about, he did not have overnights. His visitations were limited in the sense that there had to be a middle person.
So if that is already set in place, there must have been quite a few red flags,
Right.
to be able to get to that.
Right. Unless, of course, the judge took sides where the judge didn't need to take sides. But even if that's the case, prove yourself, right? You love your kiddo so much, prove yourself that they are wrong and you are in the right, and that you are an outstanding parent.
In this case, if that was not the right way to go,
Right. Because
he's
it can
basically
happen. He's proving the opposite.
Exactly. So
Right.
I just feel like you just gotta be mindful. That's it.
Yeah.
That's basically it. Other news. What's going on? Long weekend. How was your long weekend?
We had a long weekend. We're very tired from the long weekend. We actually, Justin was pretty good this weekend. He wasn't too bad, but he's having sleep issues. When Justin is doing good and there's no sleep issues, he sleeps like a champ. But when things are not good or he's off or anything like that, it's almost like a learned behavior. Once he starts getting up every day at 1, then he'll get up every day at 1. And so we're just trying to get him back into the routine. And I'm hoping that he sleeps a full night tonight. But yeah, his sleeping pattern had been really off. We had some issues with constipation last week. That is actually something that happens a lot with our kiddos, with digestion and constipation. And we believe that might have been what was going on. We had lots of behaviors last week. But going into this week, things are better. We do have, I think I mentioned to you before, we have a new behavior team, and that's working out amazing. They even came out on Labor Day. They typically don't work holidays, but yes, the RBT was available and able, and she's just a breath of fresh air, I think is the best.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You don't find them like that very often. So we're happy about that. And how about the kiddos? How's Sergio at his new job? I've been meaning to ask.
He is doing great. He's working at Doghouse Miami, and he loves it. He's enjoying it, and thank God, everything is going smooth. So, and of course, Angel doing his Gigi's Playhouse. He loves it. He loves it.
Such a good thing for him.
It is.
Awesome.
There's other things that he's been wanting to do, but he wanted to get into drama in school. But
I remember that he wanted it and he hadn't gotten in the class.
He didn't get the class. He got the class last year,
right?
But he wanted to get the class this year and be able to join the club, so he could be in the
drama club.
And be part of all the
awesome,
all the shows.
Were they able to finally get him in?
No. So we put that in the back burner for now.
Well, he's got a lot going on. I mean, he's got a full schedule. That
boy
kid is the busiest kid ever.
Yes. So, but he's enjoying it, and they're both doing great. So thank God for that.
Yeah.
That's a little relief. But this is it, my friends.
We're cutting it a little short, and it's not even short because we do the ramblings too. But we actually gotta run. We have some appointments today because that is autism mom life. It is literally appointments, and if you're not drowning in appointments, you're drowning in paperwork
or other shit.
Really motherhood in general. But I haven't filled out in my entire life the amount of paperwork that I've had to do just for one kiddo. And it's crazy because I'll fill out something for Chloe and I always put Justin's date of birth instead of Chloe because my mind is already so programmed to entering his information.
I pause. I'm like,
who am I filling this out for?
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
And I kind of look and I'm like, oh, okay, Sergio.
Right.
And then this is Angel. Oh, and I pause because I've done it millions of times.
Yeah.
I put Angel's date of birth.
I do it all the time.
Sergio's stuff.
Yeah, I do it all the time. It's a lot. It's really a lot to remember.
But hey, we got to do it.
Yep.
So we're here for you, my friends, and hope to see you next week. Don't forget to go to SpectrumMamis.com. That's Spectrum MAMIS.com.
Yes.
And we're all over. We're all over social media, podcast platforms.
Yes.
So, and YouTube, of course.
And YouTube,
we have
our YouTube channel that you can also access through the website. So I think the website, we always say this and I can't say it enough, is the best place to go.
Yeah. One-stop shop.
Yes.
So thank you for listening. Hopefully, JoJo.
Yes.
Our little JoJo.
His return home with his mom soon.
By next week.
Yeah. Hopefully we have better news.
Yes. So, thank you for listening and see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.